local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2015 models. By Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. Speak with Jonathan Ginsburg in Oceanside or David Grodner in Brooklyn today. And by Verizon, don't miss a moment of Mets baseball on the largest, most reliable 4G LTE network, only from Verizon. Time to vote for your Mets All-Stars. You can vote 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot at Mets.com. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote at Mets.com today. Today's Game Changer brought to you by T-Mobile. Lots of key home runs yesterday, capped off by Justin Upton's 12th inning shot that helped the Padres to a victory last night over the Diamondbacks 6-4. Bryce Harper's 6th in the last 3 days. Alcides Escobar on the first pitch of the game, and Juan Lagares' 2-run homer that put the Mets in front to stay in the 7th inning, his first home run of the season. Mets and Phillies on Mother's Day. Lots of pink in the crowd. First pitch is coming right up. Start for Kirk Neuenhuis, just his 4th of the year. So Daniel Murphy moves up to the 3-hole. Lucas Duda moves down to the cleanup spot. Wilmer Flores bats 5th. Anthony Recker gets the start behind the plate. Ruben Tejada at second base as the Mets go for the rubber game of the series against the veteran right-hander Chad Billingsley, back from a long absence.
Yeah, if you haven't heard his name, of course, he was with the Dodgers, had his best year in 2008 when he won 16 games. He had Tommy John surgery. He's been off the radar for about 2 years now, but now his second start making for the Phillies. Defensively behind Billings this afternoon, presented by Coors Light, Darren Ruff at first baseman playing left, Ben Revere in center, Grady Sizemore in right. Ben Revere's played all outfield positions in this series. Cody Ashe, Freddie Galvis, Chase Utley, and Ryan Howard on the right side of that infield. Permanent fixtures for a long time. And Cameron Rupp gets to start behind the plate.
It is a warm afternoon. Temperature in the low 80s as we approach game time.
I asked a lot of folks about Chad Billingsley. When a guy is away this long, you ask, does he look the same? Larry Anderson, who does the radio for the Phillies, said he looks exactly the same. The only difference, he said, he's thrown a few more slow curveballs to get over for strikes. But he said, he talked to him, he said he's very nervous when he had his first start. And now in his second part of his career, just trying to enjoy every moment.
And if you look at the numbers on Billingsley, his velocities almost identically match up with what he did right before he got hurt in 2012 and 2013, so that's probably a good sign for Billingsley. And the Phillies took a flyer on him, signed him to a one-year deal, $1.5 million, hoping that he'd be able to return and help them. And now making his second start, had a rough one in Atlanta his first time out, and he'll make his second start here today. Curtis Granderson will lead things off on Mother's Day, sporting a pink bat, as many of the players will, and he takes a strike, and we're underway. Granderson 1 for 8 in the series, hitting .230 for the year. .350 on base percentage at the top of the batting order. And Billingsley dents the outside corner and gets ahead 0-2. Granderson, Lagares, and Murphy in the opening inning. Mets at 19-11 start the day with a 3.5 game lead in the National League East. And Granderson pounds one foul.
A couple teams in baseball have a better record, Cardinals, Dodgers, but the ones that are surprising, the Mets, Houston, and Kansas City. Maybe Kansas City not so much.
Strike three called. Granderson caught looking at a fastball and goes away grumbling after the first out.
Well, if home plate umpire Chris Conroy is going to give this pitch, I know Curtis Granderson doesn't like it. Boy, is it going to help Bartolo Colon.
Got that two-seam fastball over. Conroy has the plate. Angel Hernandez at first, Scott Barry at second, the crew chief Ted Barrett at third. Now Juan Lagares hit the 2-run homer that put the Mets over the top last night, and interestingly enough, not using the pink bat.
I told you before the game it's nothing against his mom, but when you hit a home run in your last at bat, you're going to use that bat the next day.
Slowly hit, charging Galvis, throwing on the run, gets Lagares 2 out.
Gary, have you been impressed with Galvis as I have this whole series? He has shown some great defensive play, and his offense has been better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, to me the offense is surprising. They always knew he could play shortstop, and now getting a chance with Jimmy Rollins having gone to Los Angeles, and he has been one of the big bright spots for the Phillies. Here's Daniel Murphy, 2 for 7 in this series. Murphy at .215 for the year. He is the only Met in the lineup today who has ever faced Chad Billingsley before, and he promptly serves a base hit. Now 2 for 3 in his career against Billingsley, showing the rest of his mates that's how it's done.
You know, Keith always talks about Murphy in the third hole, thinks it's a natural place for him to hit, and he jumps all over that first pitch fastball from Billingsley. Hits so hard, it's out of the reach of Utley.
So the Mets have a 2-out base runner, and now Lucas Duda, and it's been rough for Lucas over the last week. 0 for 6 in this series, just 1 for his last 21. Hitting a .274 for the year, and the Phillies put on the full shift against him. And Lucas rolls one down to Howard. An easy play for the third out. Billingsley pitches a scoreless first. Colon takes the mound when we come back. Utley and Howard, who were out of the lineup against John Neese last night, both back in there. So is Cody Ashe, and Grady Sizemore gets his first start in a week for the Phillies, who are 11-20 starting the day, and this man is 5-1.
Well, Jeep's Big Bart numbers here are unbelievable. 2.90 ERA. You love the one walk and 40 in the third innings pitched. That's historic in this Mets franchise.
Ben Revere will lead things off for the Phillies. 1 for 8 in the series. And he takes a strike from Cologne. Revere, Galvis, and Utley against Cologne, who makes his 7th start. Beat the Orioles his last time out. 7 2/3 terrific innings in a 3-2 win. And he keeps it away from Revere, 1-1. Bartolo with 34 strikeouts and 1 walk. That has never been done in modern Major League history through a pitcher's first 6 starts of the season. It's never. 115 years. Slap to the left side. Tough play for Flores in the hole against Revere's speed. Safe. Very close play, and we'll see whether the Mets will want to challenge it.
Terry Collins immediately ran to the top step of the dugout. He thinks he was out at first. By my sight, he looked out at first base. There's the throw. Something on it by Flores. I thought he was in the air when Duda caught the ball. And
the Mets are challenging. So on the very first play in the bottom of the first inning, the Mets will challenge the call, and they may well get this one overturned. That was a very nice play by Flores to plant and throw. He had just enough time.
Straight over the top, and he makes the throw, and it's just whether the angle they have. To me, he was in the air when I saw it first.
Angel Hernandez, the first base umpire. This is a better view. And the ball does appear to hit the back of the glove before the foot hits the bag, and I think the Mets will get the overturn.
Yes. So right out of the gate, you put Flores back in there at shortstop after Tejada has a 2015 night of his nights. And hopefully this play will be overturned. Boy, that's easy.
That's pretty clear right there. I love this part of it. You know, they're showing the play on the big board, and they do overturn it. And Revere's out in first. Play under review brought to you by Mazda. But I love the fact that the players on the field now have grown accustomed to turning to the big screen and taking a look. And Flores was watching with Tejada, seeing whether the call would get overturned. Become a big part of the theater of the whole thing.
Well, what I've seen is sometimes the runner, like Ben Revere, they'll see it on the board and they'll just go in the dugout.
So Cologne gets the first out on further review, and the Mets will retain another challenge for later. Freddie Galvis settles in. Galvis 4 for 7 in this series, hitting .347 for the year, 6th in the National League. Switch hitter hitting .313 from the left side, and he thinks about the bunt. Murphy was playing in. Ball 1. Did they say 40 seconds on the review? That's pretty good. When it's clear cut like that, then the system works very efficiently.
Well, I think what has happened on Park Avenue, and certainly I don't know this for a fact, but I think that they started this process by making sure they got it 100% right, and now they're using their good judgment and saying, hey, you know what, that's the angle, it works, let's go, move on.
Well, to me, the difficult part is when you have the ones where you're splitting hairs, and you're trying to look at it from every angle, and you're not sure, and that's when it takes 5-6 minutes and really bogs the game down.
And again, to me, that's when you use your common sense and say, hey, I'm going to err on the side of the umpire.
Call stands,
yeah.
Right. Line into center field, and Galvis has another hit. Boy, is he swinging the bat well. Not quite having a D. Gordon start, but it's pretty close.
Looked like a little changeup here from Cologne. Let's see. Well, maybe fastball away, just got it up. We've always said about Cologne, we watch in the first couple of innings, want to see that fastball down. That's the key.
So 1 out and 1 on. That Chase Utley. Utley had a pinch hit at bat in the 9th inning last night and got a base hit against Jerry's Familia, which snapped an 0 for 19 streak and also took him out from under the interstate. If you're hitting under 100, is that like being in the tar? Because you're under the interstate? Anyway, Utley 5 for his last 67. It's been a huge struggle for him, but maybe last night's hit gets him going. Ball 1 to Utley with Ryan Howard on deck.
What is the Mendoza line is under 200, right?
I don't think there really is a name for being under 100.
Well, which I found ironic is Mario Mendoza, who was named after a light hitting shortstop in his day, then became a hitting coach in minor leagues.
Well, they say those who can't do. Tejada and Flores a double play depth. Cologne trying to find his rhythm in the opening inning. And Utley taking all the way. It's a strike, 1-1. That was interesting.
It's almost like Cologne, because he had that, not quick pitch to him, but he had that slide step. It kind of surprised Utley, and Utley might have thought that Galvis was going.
Now there's a strike from Cologne on the outside. It's 1-2. Well, Galvis is not a big base stealer. He had 2 steals on Friday night. They were his first 2 of the year and only the 3rd and 4th of his career. So clearly they want him to run more, but Cologne's not a guy you can run against. In fact, he hasn't given up a stolen base yet this season. Good move, quick to the plate.
And Recker, of all the catchers, injured or not injured, is the best throwing catcher for the Mets.
Curveball got him. So Cologne throws a wrinkle at Utley and strikes him out for the 2nd out.
It's that little breaking ball he throws that I think Utley didn't recognize it till the last minute, and then tried to make up with a late swing and swung right under that breaking ball.
So 2 out. Galvis still at first, and now Ryan Howard. Howard really has perked up this last week. Appeared as a pinch hitter last night, put a little scare into the Mets with a long fly ball that was caught. But over the last 5 games, 8 for 16 with 2 home runs, showing some more signs of the player who put waste to the National League for several years.
Well, I think that in his heyday, he was always the guy that you had to recognize in this lineup. And I think for today, because he's hot or hotter, this is the batter that Cologne's going to have to get out today if he's going to have a good day.
And Cologne runs that 2-seamer inside 1-1. Your lows never stop improving, and Howard certainly has been improving lately from some ugly numbers early in the year. He'll never be that 58 home run guy again, but if he can be a 30 home run, 95 RBI kind of guy, the Phillies would be thrilled. And he pops one up. Neuenhuis playing left field today. Makes the grab, and that gets Cologne through the opening inning. A hit and 1 left. We go to the 2nd on Mother's Day. Mets and Phils, no score.
I like that.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Hope you're having an easy one. Wilmer Flores takes a call strike as we start the second inning. Wilmer sat out last night. Ruben Tejada played shortstop. Flores in a 2-for-21 skid right now, and he takes the curveball off the plate from Billingsley at 65 miles an hour.
That's that slow curveball that we were told about.
Mostly he's a fastball cutter guy, and that's what he's always been. And Flores pops one up. Chase Utley looking into the sunshine and puts it away, one down. Well, just 11 pitches for Billingsley through the first 5 batters. Mets have been in attack mode early in this game.
You know, I really feel, I'm going to go back on this series before the Mets play the Phillies again. Both sides have been in attack mode against the pitching, and I think because, especially the Mets, they throw so many strikes.
Well, here's Kirk Neuenhuis, and Terry Collins feels as though he really needs to get Neuenhuis and John Mayberry going. Those were his prime bats off the bench, and both have struggled big time over the first month of the season.
And he made a good point. He says, what happens if Michael Kadire twists an ankle, is out for 3 or 4 days? I've got to send someone out there who hasn't had it in bat in a week.
Change up by Billingsley to get ahead 0-2. Well, Neuenhuis just 2 for 23 to start the year. Much of that has been pinch hitting. Just the 4th start he's made. Anthony Recker on deck.
You know, one thing that Billingsley has done since he's been away from the game because of the injury, he's working so much quicker. I don't know if you remember when he was with the Dodgers, he was a notorious slow worker.
I think he's in a little better shape now, too. That's what happens to a lot of pitchers who rehab their arm. They've got nothing to do but get themselves in shape.
I mean, he was Traxel-like as far as how he worked.
Second straight day that a pitcher from Defiance, Ohio, has taken the mound. He and John Deese were high school teammates. Neuenhuis goes down on the fastball. Second strikeout for Billingsley, who's looking pretty sharp. 2 out.
He's always had that great cutting action on his fastball to go along with that slider. Watch this ball. Starts in the inside corner and it just tails right in on Neuenhuis. 4-seamer. Put that pressure on that middle finger, and if it comes off that middle finger right, it'll scoot about 2 or 3 inches inside to the lefties.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Anthony Recker. Recker making his 6th start of the year. Had a pinch hit in the opening game of the series. Mets now have 3 catchers, which frees up Terry Collins to use his catchers to pinch hit. Recker Friday night. Johnny Manel last night. As I cutter off the plate, and it's 1-1. Chad Billingsley's best year was 2008 with the Dodgers. He went 16-10 with a 3.14 ERA. Then he was an all-star the next year in 09. Curveball got away from him. 2-1.
He's an old enough pitcher and has been around long enough to pitch against the Mets in the 2006 Division Series. There's his numbers in that year. 201 Ks. He did walk 80 that year. Walks were always an issue when he was with the Dodgers.
Recker pops one a mile high. Utley retreats and calls. And that retires the side. Billingsley sets the Mets down 1-2-3 in the second. No score as Colon heads back to the mound.
Taking a picture, yes. Phillies fan helping him out.
We go to the bottom of the second on Mother's Day. Darren Ruff leads off against Bartolo Colon and takes a strike. Ruff 1 for 8 in this series. Played both first base and left field. Grady Sizemore on deck, then Cody Ashe. So Colon went walkless in the first inning. That's now 35 1/3 consecutive walkless innings, which is the longest Mets streak since their club record streak by Brett Saberhagen of 47 2/3 in 1994. It's extraordinary.
Like I said, it's a game that I'm not familiar with. The ability to, I can see having the control over 1, 2, maybe even 3 starts, but to do it start after start after start, never putting on a free pass is remarkable.
And because he's allowed fewer hits than innings pitched, Colon's whip, walks and hits per inning pitched, is under 1.
I mean, I talk about it all the time. There's occasionally points in the game where, you know what, maybe I'm not going to go after this guy. I'll go after the next guy. He never thinks that way.
Well, because there's always a pitch that he can make tempting enough. Recker sets up away, and Ruff fouls back the fastball.
The last time he started a season 6-1, 16 years ago.
Wow.
In 1999 with the Indians.
Back then he was throwing 95 plus.
Still chewing gum.
Right at Flores, and Ruff retired, 1 away.
Well, defensively for the Mets this afternoon, presented by Lexus, New and Ice gets that start with Lagares and Granderson. And on the infield, shaking up a little bit. Flores back in there. Tejada moves over to second. Herrera sits down. Murphy and Duda on the corners. And Anthony Recker gets a rare start.
Now Grady Sizemore. Sizemore hitting .204 on the year through 49 at bats. This is the 11th game he started for the Phillies. Sizemore at one time looked like he was going to be one of the abiding superstars of the game. 3-time All-Star early in his career with Cleveland.
He was one of the best athletes in the game. And I'll tell you folks out there, sometimes it's hard for you to remember. He kind of was the Mike Trout of his day when he first came up. There's a stat you gave me before the game.
Well, in 2008, Sizemore hit 33 home runs. He was 25 years old, hit 33 home runs that year. In the 7 years since, he's hit 33 home runs total. And it was just a matter of injuries. He had elbow, he had both knees, and a back over the course of 4 or 5 years, and it just broke down his body. And the fact that he was able to make a comeback last year, first with the Red Sox, then with the Phillies, is pretty extraordinary in and of itself, even though he's clearly not the same player. And Colon gets it in at the knees on the outside corner for his second strikeout.
Again, this whole umpiring crew this series has not been generous. They're just calling the ball on the corners. And Chris Conroy is calling that ball on the knees also. That crosses the knees. It's a good pitch. It's not where he catches it. It's where it crosses the plate.
You know, they did studies this past offseason about the strike zone, and what they found is that there's a significant expansion of the strike zone down since they put in all the cameras and the equipment that they use to rate the umpires. That the rest of the strike zone has stayed the same, but there's more strikes called at the lower part of the zone. I don't know what that means exactly.
Well, see that side view we got? When we get it, the knees never change. So you really can see that it's above the knees. The chest, under the armpits, the letters. What is it? Atop of the strike zone. It's a little more arbitrary.
Well, here's the other thing about it: is Cody Ashe bats. He's in an 0 for 21 slump. I would think that from a hitter's standpoint, if they're going to call more strikes, you'd rather it be up than down, because the pitch up is a more hittable pitch.
I agree, because if they're calling the high breaking ball, that's a bad breaking ball. The ball that's down, you can't see it as well, too. I mean, it's closer to your eyes if the ball is higher in the strike zone.
Along ahead 1-2. And Sales one outside.
I mean, I wasn't lucky enough to work with Rick Peterson and the things that he talked about being down in the strike zone. But I know Mel Stottlemyre, that's all he cared about, is that you threw the ball on the knees all day long.
Well, you were a guy who threw sinkers and splitters. I would think that if they called more pitches lower, that would have to help you.
Well, it makes you go lower after that, too, if you want to go out of the strike zone.
Ashe chases one away, and Colon has his third strikeout. A 1-2-3 second for Bart. Mom is number one. Philadelphia on Mother's Day. After all, it's here that Mother's Day began. In 1908, first officially observed. Anna Jarvis was the driving force in getting Mother's Day declared an official holiday.
Wanted to celebrate her own mom and wanted to make it nationwide. I think I want to say in 1913, 14, around then is when Congress declared the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day.
Ruben Tejada leads off in the third inning against Chad Billingsley, who throws a first pitch ball for the first time this afternoon. Tejada 2 for 3 last night, including a double and a walk. Made a couple of sparkling plays in the field at short, getting the start at second base today. And he pops one up into shallow right. Sizemore looking through the sunglasses and manages to stay with it for the first down. Here's your Verizon trivia question for today. The only two pitchers to allow no walks in at least 4 starts this season. Well, you know who one of them is.
Yeah.
So the question is, who's the other one?
No walks.
Well, here's the excitement. That is the Bartolo Colon at bat.
It's very hot today. I'm not anticipating a lot of swings.
You're thinking going to be some takes.
Conserve energy.
You would be wrong. Galvis makes the sit spin and then knew he had enough time to throw out Colon. That's as close to an infield hit as Bart's going to get.
That's not fair. That's almost like taunting by Galvis. Well, one, we've seen his range this whole series, just fantastic. But to know he knew he was running, knew he had plenty of time. And nice play by Freddie. So we saw Harang last night, and we saw Colon today.
Harang sprinted. At least Bart dropped his bat.
Could have been a sprint. You don't know.
2 out and nobody on. Now Curtis Granderson, and he takes a strike. Granderson went down looking his first time up. Well, Billingsley has looked awfully good first time through the batting order. Curveball ripped into right field, and that's a base hit for Granderson. Sizemore tracks it. Granderson will hold it first. And the Mets have their second hit.
Breaking ball up to Granderson. He stays right on it. Nice swing. And good job by Sizemore to use his speed to get over there to hold Granderson to first base. I mean, that's how we saw Granderson swing the bat in spring training.
So now Lagares, who grounded out to short his first time up. Remember early in the season last year when Lagares was getting the odd day off, and it sparked a Twitter firestorm, the free Lagares hashtag.
That's right.
It hasn't happened this year. Juan has started every game in center field, and I was surprised to see that there are only two other major league center fielders who've started every game at that spot: Mike Trout and Adam Jones. Lagares flies out to end the inning. Let's get their second hit, but no runs. Scoring series. Mets lost Friday night 3-1, won yesterday 3-2, and Bartolo Colon and Chad Billingsley matching zeros so far in this one. Cameron Rupp will lead off for Philadelphia. Rupp, the backup catcher. Carlos Ruiz caught the first two games of the series. Rupp making his 10th start. University of Texas product. He's built like a backup catcher.
Yeah, like Recker. He and Recker should.
Todd Pratt, right? Same body type.
They should just take off the helmets, wrestle for about a half hour. Whoever wins, that's the team that wins today. Just get on the plane and go.
I'm not sure if the fans would feel as though that was their money's worth, but perhaps that could be a half inning. Colon runs one up and in. It's 1-2. Rupp looks back at Chris Conroy, asks him, was that a strike? Can usually be pretty sure with Colon. It was somewhere near the strike zone. Billingsley, the pitcher, on deck, and then Ben Revere in the third. Well, I have to say that considering the plate of the Phillies this year, these three games this weekend have been very well attended.
Yeah.
Their attendance is certainly down over the last several seasons from their stretch of 5 straight division championships.
Well, we remember the days when he came here and 257 straight sold-out games here. It was a party every night.
But it's been a very upbeat crowd this weekend. I've been surprised by that. You know, because they've got a reputation here in Philadelphia when things don't go well. Sometimes they're not too polite. Rupp goes down looking. Third consecutive strikeout for Cologne, and Rupp goes away moaning.
It's the fastball away that comes back over the plate. I've said it seems like 100 times already because it's true. Cologne just keeps hitting that spot. And if that umpire starts calling it, he will just stay right there on that spot.
And if you're a catcher and you get caught looking like that, you can't say too much, can you?
No, you have to be a diplomat. You have to pull out your UN card and make sure that you get the same calls for your pitcher.
Billingsley, a lifetime 140 hitter, 0 for 1 so far this year. Ronnie, you mentioned that he was on that 06 Dodgers team that faced the Mets in the LCS. There's one, or the League Division Series, there's only one Dodger left on that team who was with him in 06.
Oh, I got it. I think. Outfielder.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ethier?
Okay. Ethier, that's right. That's driven toward the left field corner, over toward the pole, and it's out of here. Chad Billingsley with his third career home run puts the Phillies in front 1-0. That's a nice welcome back to the big leagues after 2 years away. Third career home run for Billingsley. The Phillies, who are last in the league in home runs, get a boost from their pitcher.
Well, maybe the only spot on the record of Cologne that has not been perfect through his first 7 starts now. 6th home run given up. And this one wrapped around the foul pole by Billingsley.
So 1-0 Philadelphia. Now Ben Revere takes a swing.
He's trying to throw that pitch down and away. Got it right over the middle, and the home run, like I said, wrapped right around it. Fouled, not around it, right into the netting.
Revere grounded out to short his first time, and he hits it in the air to left center, and over comes Neuenhuis. 2 out.
I mean, that's a pretty good swing by the kid from Defiance. Big base hit for Jonathan Nice last night, and a home run by the kid from Defiance today, Billingsley.
I think you'd call that one-upsmanship.
There you go.
By the way, you know, you and I talked last night, speaking of Nice and that base hit he had in the 7th inning last night. We were a little surprised Nice took that turn at bat, and so I asked Terry Collins about it today and what his thought process was in leaving Nice in the game, and it obviously turned out great. Nice got the hit, he pitched an effective 7th, and Mets won the game. But he said the main factor was who was coming up the next inning. Was that they had, I think, Blanco, the 8-hitter, the pitcher spot, which would have to be a left-hand batter, and then Ben Revere. And so he wanted him to face those left-hand hitters and at least get him through Galvis at the most in that 7th. And that's the prime reason, he said, even though they were down by a run, he wanted to keep Nice in the game.
Well, I think what's great about that is that I've seen too much in the past that the Mets have gone straight to the bullpen and have tried to get some offense. And I was critical of it. I was very surprised that Jonathan hit for himself. But in retrospect, I can't have it both ways. I try to argue for the starting pitchers, who I think is their strength, to be out there longer. So it's nice to see that maybe he's having a bit of a change of heart.
Galvis singled to center his first time up. Chase Utley on deck. Colone's now given up 6 home runs this year in 43 innings of work.
But, you know, if you throw that many strikes, you're going to give up home runs.
Sometimes that's the trade-off. 2-2 to Galvis, and he pounds one foul.
Well, the greatest right-hander that ever pitched for this organization, the Phillies, gave up home runs in bucketfuls.
Robin Roberts.
Yep.
The key, as Roberts always said, was make sure it's with nobody on base. Catfish Hunter was the same way.
See Galvis choking up. We see a few hitters doing that now. Nice to see, especially with 2 strikes.
And the slider strikes him out. Recker has trouble finding it, but recovers in time, and Duda with the snatch to end the inning. 5 strikeouts for Colon, but he couldn't strike out his opposite number. Ahead on Billingsley, who shocks him with his 3rd career home run. And the Phillies lead 1-0 after 3. The Brewers at 110. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Daniel Murphy magnet card courtesy of Wise Snacks. After the game, all kids 12 and under can run the bases in the Mr. Met Dash. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Murph swung at the first pitch he saw today and magnetized it into right field for a base hit.
We were mentioning the things that are on a refrigerator next to that Magnum when we were kids. I remember the shopping list used to always be on the refrigerator. My mom used to put on where dinner was, that maybe dinner was in the oven if you were hungry.
Sometimes you can get the message pad, the whiteboard, write down phone messages
and erase it if you have. Yeah.
Lucas Duda on deck, and then Wilmer Flores. And Billingsley pours one over for a strike, and it's 2-2. Billingsley's been awfully sharp in this game.
I was talking to Larry Anderson, I said before, and he said, you know what, even though he got roughed up in his first outing, he said he didn't look any different than he did when he was at his prime as far as speed of pitch is concerned.
He made 2 starts in 2013 before the elbow acted up, and he wound up having Tommy John surgery. So that was 25 months ago. Then when he tried to come back last year, his flexor tendon gave out, and he had more elbow surgery. That was last June. So 2 major elbow surgeries in a 2-year span.
Well, he almost was a little bit like Masahiro Tanaka in that they found out he had an elbow problem in spring training. He wanted to try to pitch through it. He did for those 2 starts, and then they realized that he had to have Tommy John. Well, Tanaka has not had Tommy John.
Out to left center, and Revere to the edge of the warning track to grab it. 1 out.
Ball's carrying a little bit today.
So Murphy retired, 1 out. Now Lucas Duda, who grounded out on the first pitch he saw his first time up. Well, the Mets Find it a struggle every day to piece together enough offense. And to that end, any note of news about their injured hitters is important. And the news today is that David Wright is supposed to be back on the field tomorrow. Duda drives one down the right field line. That's a fair ball going to the corner. Sizemore has trouble digging it out, and Duda cruises into second base with a one-out double. 10th double of the year for Lucas Duda.
Well, much needed there for Lucas. It's a slap on the helmet from Tommy Goodwin. A little changeup right in the middle of the plate. Stayed back enough to pull that down the line. Double digits now in doubles.
So the Mets have the tying run in scoring position. First time they've gotten a runner to second base today, and Wilmer Flores will try and do something with it. Wilmer popped up to the second baseman his first time up. And the curveball from Billingsley in for a strike. Anyway, Wright coming back from the hamstring, a little bit of a setback with the back on the field tomorrow in Port St. Lucie. That's the plan, and there's no timetable for his return, but just the fact that he's able to get back on the field is a good thing. As for Travis d'Arnaud, he's supposed to see the doctor Tuesday, and if he gets cleared, he'll get the cast off and be able to start working toward finding his way back. Coming back from a broken finger on his right hand.
Flores bangs one up the middle for a base hit. Duda being waved around third. Here's Revere's throw to the plate. It'll have to be cut off. And the Mets tie it up. Wilmer Flores with an RBI single. It's 1-1.
Tim Teufel did not hesitate sending Duda home. Revere's got a notoriously weak arm, and he showed it there.
Well, a bullet up the middle. Nice hitting by Wilmer. You saw Duda look back. No need to look back. With Revere in center field, you got to send him all the time. Just one of those guys who just does not throw very well. See the look back? Picks up his coach and scores the tying run.
I mean, he threw that ball from shallow center field, and it barely got to second base.
He can't throw. I mean, there's no other way to sugarcoat it.
Nieuwenhuis lifts one to left center. Pretty well hit. Revere back onto the warning track to make the catch. And back to first goes Flores. 2 out.
You know, he charges it well enough, and he comes up and has every intention of trying to throw out Duda. He just doesn't have a good arm. There's nothing to say. In fact, watching him afterwards, he went back to the spot where he picked up that baseball, kind of trampled down on the grass, like maybe he slipped a little bit. You know how the golfers do it when they miss a putt? They tap down the spike mark. Like, it must have been that. It wasn't my bad putt.
Like when the ball goes between your legs, you look at the glove because it's the glove's fault.
Or you look at a piece of dirt in front of you. You know what? The cleat mark got me.
Here's Recker, who popped up his first time up, and he dribbles one down toward third. And Ashe has time, throws out Recker, side retire, but the Mets get even. Duda doubles, Flores singles him home. 1-1 in the fourth in Philly.
Wilmer Flores, an RBI single here on Mother's Day. And you talk to Wilmer about his mom and gets a little choked up. She's meant so much to him. So Deli Garcia and where he's gotten to in his career, he credits her so much with that. From the time Wilmer started playing baseball in Venezuela when he was 4 years old, she did not allow him to miss one practice or one game, which was rare amongst the rest of the kids. Now, that's impressive enough, getting a young kid to all of these games, but consider this. So Deli didn't have a car. So we're talking about a woman who took a 20 to 30-minute bus ride every time Wilmer had to play baseball, sat there, watched him play, another 20 to 30-minute bus ride back. He credits her again with where he is today.
Well, it's true with so many of the ball players. Dad's off working and mom is the one who nurtures their career. Utley hits it deep to right. Granderson back near the wall and plays it off the fence. Utley pulls into second, takes a turn, and a hold there. Ball gets loose on the infield, but backed up by Murphy. Well, Granderson, I think, got fooled by that ball near the wall.
Well, we've seen it here at Citizens Bank Park, where there's not padding where the walls are, and we've seen guys that want to go back there and they feel for that wall, but he gave up on it a little early. That's the play he could have made.
Yeah, that's a ball that certainly could have been caught.
Even Utley thought it was going to be caught.
So it's a leadoff double for Utley, his first double of the season. Imagine that.
I mean, he's good for 3 a week, it seems.
So now Howard with the go-ahead run at second and nobody out. Fly to left his first time up. And he flies one out to left. Easy for Neuenhuis. And that's the first down of the inning. So Howard is retired. A couple of sevens on his scorecard. Now Darren Ruff, the batter. Ruff rounded out to short his first time up. Malone gave up the home run to the pitcher Billingsley in the last inning. Now trying to work around a leadoff double by Utley here in the fourth. Darren Ruff 1 for 9 in this series. And he bloops one into center, and right there is Lagares playing shallow for the second out. So a double by Utley, and Colon gets 2 outs on the next 2 pitches.
It's a great thing. So one thing about watching Colon this year and all of his, really the bulk of his last 4 or 5 seasons, the efficiency with how he uses his pitches to stay late in games has been a big key.
So 2 out. Utley still at second and is left to Grady Sizemore. It took a call third strike his first time up.
Good job by Colon, because at least one of those guys, if you're going to give him third base, he's certainly going to take it.
I like how Utley goes straight back as he takes his lead. And so he can see exactly where the shortstop is.
And then walks forward, slowly walks forward. That's how guys in my generation were taught. I know that his coach when he was younger was Jeff Burrows, outstanding player for the Texas Rangers. I think an MVP one year, in fact.
Yeah, Texas.
He taught Chase Utley how to play the game. So, you know, Jeff is certainly of my generation of players. So maybe that's where he picked up that habit.
Don't see anybody do that anymore.
Well, you eliminate the shortstop from coming behind you. You eliminate him from coming behind you, and then you walk forward. Like I'm saying, if you are even with the base paths, they stand right behind you and then move back. If you're out there, they can't do that. Now, you could run a play where the second baseman could come in, or
Sizemore takes one the other way. Neuenhuis plays it on the hop. Utley heading home. Neuenhuis with a throw to the plate, not in time. The Phillies go back in front. Grady Sizemore with a 2-out RBI hit, and it's 2-1 Philadelphia.
Well, for two teams that are struggling offensively, they have had some timely hits in this series. And Sizemore went down and just kind of hit that ball off the end of the bat. And Pete Mackinnon, the third base coach, waving Utley through. Good, hard, strong throw from Neuenhuis, just up the line a bit. A good 2-out lead. Of course, when there's 2 outs, you don't have to look at anyone. You know you're going straight through.
So 2-1 Phillies, and now Cody Asche with a half swing, fouls it back. Ashe struck out his first time up. For Grady Sizemore, just his 3rd run batted into the season. I think when that ball first came off the bat, Neuenhuis had a thought that he might be able to catch it.
I think he made the right call because the ball was hit off the end of the bat. It was sinking. It wasn't going to stay in the air. Also doesn't help when you don't play a lot. You know, you don't have a feel for that ball coming off the bat. Hits it off the end, and you're right. Coming in, Neuenhuis thought he was going to catch it, then decided to break down and catch it on that kind of in-between hop.
Blown ahead on Ashe, 0-2. He makes him move his feet. Cameron Rupp, the number 8 hitter, would be next. Two weeks from today, Bartolo turns 42. And he strikes out Cody Ashe, whose troubles continue. 6 strikeouts for Cologne, but the Phillies poke their nose back in front. Utley a leadoff double. Sizemore drives him in. 2-1 Phils after 4. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. 2 pitchers to allow no walks in at least 4 starts this season. Well, you know Bartolo Colon is one of them. And Jared Weaver coming off a complete game shutout in his last start for the Angels.
The funniest part of that, and I'm a big Jared Weaver fan. Here's a guy that, talk about reinventing yourself. Guy that threw well over 90 and now doesn't throw as hard. Got off to a shaky start this year, but like Gary said, that shutout. He was standing for the post-game interview, and someone threw some water that hit him, and he just stopped the interview and walked off. So that's enough. So with all these shenanigans that happen, we just recently saw Harper get what? Chocolate sauce thrown on him when he hit the home run. Jared Weaver's old school. Like, leave me alone. Do not touch me.
By the way, we haven't talked about it, but you've noticed that the Mets have stopped doing that stuff. There's no more car wash. There's no more pie in the face. No more shaving cream. They're acting a little more professional.
Act like you've been there before. It's nice. It's nice.
Ruben Tejada flied out his first time up.
I know fans probably like some of that stuff.
You know, once in a while I can understand it, but when it's every time, then it loses its appeal.
It's also doing it when you're 20 games under 500. I mean, that does no appeal for me. You do it when you're winning some important ball games.
Billingsley behind in the count for the first time all day, and Tejada fouls one back this way. Almost made it. Him about 10 feet shy of the booth.
Love those foul balls that have a chance.
Here we have a chance.
Here we have
at home we have no chance.
What I find a little bit ironic is I love to catch him or want to catch him. Keith has no interest in catching him. 11 gold gloves.
You know, I think you're the rarity. There's ball 4, and Tejada's on with a leadoff walk. First walk for either side today. And that allows Colon to go up there and try to bunt. And that's where we are. Mezzanine level here at Citizens Bank Park. Most ex-players who are in the broadcast booth have no interest in catching the ball.
Because there's only one way for it to go. If they don't catch it, they look awful.
Exactly.
I get it.
Whereas the non-athlete folks like myself, they always want to catch the ball. And usually are not very good at that either.
Unless you're Tom McCarthy in center field.
Well, that was awesome.
And you bring your glove.
He brought his glove. I mean, what were the odds someone's going to hit one 420 feet right into his glove? I was working a radio game with Ed Coleman about 10 or 12 years ago, and at Shea Stadium he had one hit right in his lap and caught it like it was no big deal. Rupp fakes the throw to first, and it's 1-1.
Eddie's a good athlete.
He's an athlete. He can still hit a jump shot.
It's love.
Well into his 60s.
Plays tough defense on you. Some would call it fouling.
Well, there's a certain manner of New York street ball that
that's right.
You know, you don't call fouls. Cologne, heart not quite in it. 1-2. Your People's United Bank starters so far this afternoon. Chad Billingsley, second start back from 2 years away, has looked awfully good. And Bartolo Colon, no walks, 6 strikeouts, but down in the game 2-1. And Colon pops it up, and Rupp grabs it for the first out.
Well, Bartolo's always going to have a tough time bunting, because watch what he does when the ball comes. He flinches, and his backside is going towards the dugout. Unless that changes, he's always going to have a tough time getting the bunt down.
So Granderson comes to bat with 1 out and 1 on. Curtis had a base hit his last time up, 1 for 2 on the day. Mets have had 4 hits. Phillies have had 4 hits. The difference right now, though, is Chad Billingsley, who hit a home run. That's starting their 3rd time around the batting order against Billingsley. Mets have had 1 game this week where they scored more than 3 runs. It was against the Orioles in the 2nd game of that series. Hit a couple of home runs in that game. But without the long ball, there has not been much available for the Mets offensively. And we showed these numbers last night. Since Wright and d'Arnaud have been out, they have tumbled even further.
Well, this is their 31st game. After last night's game, 16 of their 30 games, they've scored 3 runs or less. I mean, that's a lot.
The good news in all of that is, despite the lack of offense, they're 19 and 11.
So you say to yourself, boy, when they start hitting, this is really going to start going.
I mean, it's gone pretty much the way you would have anticipated when the year began. You knew this was going to be a team that's going to pitch well, going to struggle defensively, and the lineup was a question. And, you know, they lost two important pieces very quickly with Wright and d'Arnaud going out, both off to good starts. And they've kind of limped along ever since, and yet have been able to keep a very positive record. Curveball fouled off by Granderson.
It's another breaking ball with a good swing by Granderson. He hit that single on that same pitch in his prior at bat. You know, Terry Collins adjusted this morning. He said, listen, we got two really good hitting coaches. They're watching tape all the time, watching computer all the time. If there was anything physical, we'd be on top of it. Rose, you know, it's not. It gets in your noggin sometimes when you struggle.
And I think also one thing you've seen as Wright and d'Arnaud's absences have become longer, that the Mets' walk numbers have gone down. Granderson has been drawing walks, but really nobody else has. And I think what happens is you get hitters who are trying to do a little bit too much and maybe going out of the strike zone more. There's ball 3 to Granderson, full count.
Well, what happens is that you have a guy like Neuenhuis in the lineup today. He wants to get 4 hits before he gets the first hit. You got Wilmer Flores, who has struggled defensively. He wants to show that he can be a good offensive player. So, you know, you come into a game trying to do, instead of just being in the moment.
Tejada runs. Granderson hits it deep to right field. Back goes Grady Sizemore looking up at the wall. It's out of here! Curtis Granderson with a 2-run homer. And he puts the Mets in front 3-2. That solves all ills.
It does.
Home run number 3 for Granderson, his first against a National League team this year. And the Mets go in front 3-2.
Well, the 2-2 pitch was close, wasn't called for a strike, and Billingsley came back with the same pitch. That fastball away, and Granderson covered it.
So Lagares last night a 2-run homer to put the Mets in front. After they trailed by a run, Granderson does the same. And the Mets have a 3-2 lead.
Last night, Aaron Harang was cruising when he gave up that home run, and Billingsley was kind of cruising, and he knew as soon as he threw the pitch that it was a home run.
Billingsley gave up 2 home runs in his first start against the Braves, and now this one. When he was in his heyday, he was one of the toughest pitchers to go deep against. Always had a very low home run rate. It's one of the reasons he was able to survive being a fairly high walk pitcher. And he's really frustrated with himself right now. 2-1 to Lagares.
Well, he's trying to mix in that changeup. That was always a pitch that he never could come up with when he was in a Dodger uniform, and still struggling with it now.
2-2 to Lagares. Billingsley's career walk rate is 3.8 per 9 innings. That's high. But his career home run rate 0.7 per 9 innings, and that's low. The curveball slops inside. It's 3-2. Third full count of the inning for Billingsley, who was working ahead of the hitters for the first 4 innings. And Lagares reaching and just got a piece of that to stay alive. Chad Billingsley, who was 2 years ahead of John Neese at Defiance High School in Ohio. At one time they formed a battery in youth ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Billingsley caught Neese at one point, and I think they might have been the other way around as well. John might have done a little lefty catching back in his day. Right back to Billingsley. And that's the second out.
Well, Billingsley's built a little bit like a catcher. Really thick-legged. He was a #1 pick in the 2003 draft. 24th overall from Defiance. Had a game where he struck out 19 hitters out of 21 in a high school game.
That'll get your attention.
Yeah, right?
Here's Murphy, 1 for 2 on the day. Murph singled back in the first inning. 1-1 to Murph.
Murph's always jarring with the umpires.
Amicably.
No, yeah, no, he's.
And he strokes one to the left center. That's down for a base hit. So Daniel Murphy with his second hit of the day. And the Mets' sixth hit off Billingsley.
You know, of all the Mets hitters in the past week, I mean, it's been Murphy who really has swung the bat the best. Maybe that's why he's in that 3-hole today.
Bob McClure, the pitching coach, is going to come out and take the temperature of Chad Billingsley, who's at 70 pitches now. Remember, this is only his second start after 2 years on the sidelines. No action as yet in the Phillies bullpen.
Well, this is where you try to reassure your pitcher. Hey, listen, you know, that home run is gone. You're pitching a good game. You got good stuff. We're only run down. Let's hold them here and we'll get you some runs.
Hey kids, you can win a chance to join us in the booth and call a Mets game on SNY. Just go to SNY.TV/KidCaster. Submit an essay on the topic provided and you'll be entered in the SNY KidCaster contest presented by New York's 529 College Savings Program.
Where did that jingle come from? The Hit Factory? I mean,
it said backslash, but on the screen it was a forward slash. I think our people don't know the forward slash from the backslash. It's not that confusing, is it?
You could do a whole Seinfeld skit about that.
Which way is a forward slash? Is it the top that's forward or is it the bottom that's forward?
Bottom that's forward. Right?
That's a backslash. That's a forward slash.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Right? If the top is forward, then it's a forward slash.
That's right.
If the bottom is forward, it's a backslash. Right?
I feign ignorance at all this stuff all the time.
Oh boy.
People say, I'll send you an email. I don't have
well, it's a generational thing. At some point a period became a dot.
That's right.
A colon became an emoji.
That's right.
1-2 to Duda, who doubled and scored a run in the fourth inning. You got the two screen experience now, right? Watch the game, get your second screen,
watch a different game,
or comment on the game you're watching, or look up stats.
Comment on the announcers.
Oh, there's that.
What did I see outside of a coffee shop the other day? I don't know where I saw it, but it was a sign that said, "What beautiful place will you be this weekend while you're staring into your cell phone?"
Yeah. 2-2 to Duda, and the curveball drops in for a call third strike. Third strike after Billingsley, but the Mets go in front. Curtis Granderson's starting to show some pop. Second hit of the day. It's a 2-run homer, his third of the year, and the Mets go up 3-2 halfway through on Mother's Day in Philly. Anderson's 2-run homer has the Mets in front. Bartolo Colon now with the lead. The number 8 hitter Cameron Rupp with an excuse-me swing. Lucas Duda with an emphatic dive, and Colon covers. 1 pitch and 1 out.
Bemused smile from Colon as he hustles over to cover that base. Nice play by Lucas Duda. Lucas to his right. That's his lateral movement that way is very good. And that's the excuse-me swing you talked about.
So 1 out and nobody on, and now Colon's got to deal with the slugger at the plate. Chad Billingsley, who hit his 3rd career home run his first time up today on an 0-2 pitch. Drilled one down the line off the screen attached to the left field foul pole. And he works the count to 2 strikes again.
That was this 0-2 pitch, supposed to be outside and down and right down the middle. Just never expect a pitcher to do that.
I got one for you. That's a ground ball for Flores to handle. Do you have any idea who the last Met pitcher to hit a home run was? Now, I'm not counting Noah Syndergaard, who hit one in his last minor league start.
The last Mets pitcher to hit a home run. Boy. Has it been in the 10 years that we've been here?
Yeah, it's one. Well, you remember Santana hit
Santana
one, but there's been one since, at least one since 3 years ago.
I don't know. Who is it?
Jeremy Hefner.
Oh, that's right. Hit it in his first at bat. Was it his first game started or something? I think he was called up and I don't know.
Not certain.
Yeah.
In any event, it's been a while. So who's the candidate to be the next guy? I think Syndergaard's the next guy.
Too nervous. It's going to be ice cold in Chicago. Wind blowing in. No chance.
Well, I didn't mean necessarily his first start.
I think Jonathan Neese is going to get one. He looks like the guy who has the best idea up there right now.
I think Matt Harvey.
Yeah, well, he's got all the power, and he just has a flair for the dramatic. So, I mean, you know, Harvey's going to have a game somewhere in his career where he's going to strike out 15 and hit a home run and win the game 1-0.
He's going to have a Rick Wise game.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Rick Wise pitched a no-hitter and hit 2 home runs in the same game.
Rick Wise.
That's next start will be Wednesday night, which is supposed to be the coldest of the nights at Wrigley Field. Monday is supposed to be okay. Tuesday colder, and Wednesday even colder. So bring the warm stuff. Revere bangs one down to first, to foul ball. Well, Bartolo Colon's gone 4 2/3 without a walk today. That gets him to 39 innings without a walk. And coming into the day at 0.2 walks per 9 innings, which would be a record.
So you said how many innings now? You said 39.
39 now with 1 walk. That's presented by DraftKings. Lined just off the glove of Duda, and Revere's got himself a base hit. He takes the turn. He's going to try for 2, and he makes it safely. Duda just lollygagged enough after that ball to give Revere the idea to go for 2, and he makes it safely.
Well, with 2 outs, Revere thought it was a pretty good gamble. As soon as that goes over the head of Duda, I don't know. He ran. You know what? He slowed up when he got close to the baseball. He didn't think Revere was going to go after it. Watch, he goes after it pretty hard. And then he slows up right here and takes a look. That's what cost him. And then throwing off his back foot. Got nothing on the throw. Pretty good hops. Not enough.
So that is that's a double for Revere. And so the Phillies have the tying run in scoring position with 2 out for Freddie Galvis. Galvis 1 for 2 today, hitting .350 for the season. Off speed pitch from Colon to start him off.
Galvis is like, that wasn't in the game plan. Change up.
You just don't see too many change ups from Bart. I mean, he'll take something off his fastball here and there.
He threw more in his last start than he has any time I've seen him pitch in a Mets uniform.
Remember, Revere couldn't score from second on a base hit to center field in last night's game. Another chance for Duda. He handles this one cleanly, and that gets Cologne through the 5th inning. A double and 1 left after 5. Get up there. 3-2 Mets. Day for you and me. It's Mother's Day for the Philadelphia Fanatic. It's nice that his mom could make it to the game today.
It's funny how the mannerisms don't fall too far from the tree.
Not only the bouquet for mom, but the dance as well. That's very sweet. Wilmer Flores leading off the 6th, and he drills one to left field. That's down for a base hit, and it goes to the wall. Flores heads for second, and he's in standing with a leadoff double. Flores' second hit of the day, his 4th double of the year.
Well, even better than that is both balls hit right on the nose by Flores. The base hit up the middle, and now this ball to left field. First pitch, breaking pitch, stays right on that curveball.
So Billingsley, who had his roughest inning in the 5th through 33 pitches, is in immediate trouble in the 6th. And the Phillies are about to get their bullpen cranking. Neuenhuis takes up and away for ball 1. Burke has struck out and hit a long fly ball to left center that Revere caught on the warning track his last time up. Mets would love to have a little breathing room. You know, the Mets have already played 19 of their first 30 games decided by 1 or 2 runs, including both games in this series. 7 and 4 in 1-run games, 4 and 4 in 2-run games. Neuenhuis pulls one, just foul.
I mean, you can live a season playing like that, but it's very difficult to do that.
Well, it puts a lot of pressure on your bullpen.
Puts a lot of pressure on the bullpen. It puts even more pressure, not more pressure. It puts pressure also on your starters, Gary, to go deep into games. So that takes some of that pressure off the bullpen.
Well, and also your concern as Justin DeFreitas gets up in the Phillies bullpen is it puts more pressure on the defense. Yeah. And, you know, unless some things start changing, that's going to be a concern all year. You know, unless they hit the ball to center field, you hold your breath sometimes with this team.
Well, Neuenhuis has got himself to a 2-2 count. Can't strike out here. Got to get the ball in play. Preferably pull it. See a lot of breaking pitches from Billingsley. Maybe he can pull that ball to the right side.
Anthony Recker on deck. 2-2.
And Neuenhuis cracks one down the right field line. That'll go to the corner and bring in a run. Flores scores. Back-to-back doubles for Flores and Neuenhuis, and the Mets now lead at 4-2. A much-needed hit for Kirk Neuenhuis, his second double of the year.
You just gotta love when you change up the lineup and you're looking for some offense, and Wilmer Flores gives you a couple hits, and Kirk Neuenhuis from nowhere comes and gets you a big base hit to right field.
Flores and Neuenhuis trading places in Philadelphia like Winthrop and Valentine.
Very nice.
Now Anthony Recker, still nobody out of the inning, as DeFreitas works harder in the bullpen. They'll get a lefty up as well. Jake Diekman. 4 runs and 8 hits now for the Mets against Billingsley, who looked very sharply early in the game, but has given up runs in each of the last 3 innings. And here comes Ryan Sandberg, and that's going to be it, one would presume, for Billingsley. So a couple of very hard hit balls by Flores and Neuenhuis to start this 6th inning. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Mets up 4-2 and looking for more in the 6th. All right, Gary, Justin DeFreitas in to pitch for the Phillies here in the 6th.
Like most of the Phillies we've seen come in from the bullpen, high walk totals.
There goes Neuenhuis stealing third, and the throw goes down the line, and Kirk will score. First pitch thrown by DeFreitas. Neuenhuis got a huge jump. Rupp, instead of putting it in his pocket, airmails it down the line, and the Mets lead 5-2.
Well, that's just the ball club falling asleep right there. DeFreitas falling asleep and not holding Neuenhuis on. Good play by Neuenhuis to steal the base. The slip and the fall there by Rupp, and the Mets have another run.
Neuenhuis' second stolen base of the year, and the Mets have 2 runs home in the 6th. That's hit hard by Recker, but just foul. So the Mets starting to find the range offensively in this game. Back-to-back doubles by Flores and Nieuwenhuis, and a very alert play by Kirk Nieuwenhuis to steal a run.
The Freitas takes forever to deliver the ball to the plate. They know that as a ball club, and they took advantage of it. Those are the gifts that Nieuwenhuis brings on the ball field when he's on base.
So all 5 runs charged to Billingsley. That last run earned or unearned, depending on what happens from here. 2-1 now to Recker. And you mentioned the walks, and we certainly saw it last night with Luis Garcia coming out of that Philly bullpen. But the Phillies staff as a whole has walked more batters than any staff in the league, and that's even with a guy like Harang, who doesn't walk anybody. Recker hits one toward right center, and over goes Revere to get it, and that's the first out of the inning.
Diekman came in last night. He had 11 walks. Garcia had 9 or maybe 10 walks. Diekman has 9 walks in his 15 innings. So
that fly ball will make that last run an earned run. So all 5 runs against Billingsley earned on 8 hits and 5 innings plus, a walk, 3 strikeouts. So, as was the case in his first start against the Braves, he's charged with 5 runs in 5 innings. But you'd have to say that the reviews have to be, considering the circumstances, not all that negative about Chad Billingsley.
I'd look at it 2 ways. I'd say, one, I'm really happy with his arm strength and the way he's throwing, so it's a good signing. 2, though, 5 runs to a team struggling offensively, so you got to weigh those against each other. But I think just the physical part of it is a good part for the Phillies and Billingsley.
Tejada walked and scored his last time up, and that one uncaught by Rupp. 1-1. I mean, when you have a guy coming back from 2 years on the sidelines, what's a reasonable time frame to give him before you make a judgment about whether he's going to be serviceable?
10 starts. Yeah. That's what I would use.
And they can afford to do that.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. I mean, it's different if you have a team in a pennant race or that aspires to be in a pennant race. The Phillies have no chance of being in a pennant race, so they might as well give him those 10 starts.
I think of the 10 starts like this, Gary. 2 good ones, 2 bad ones, 6 in the middle. Let me see what he does with those other 6.
Two and 2 to Tejada. Bartolo Colon waits on deck. Well, we talked about the Mets needing some breathing room, which they've rarely had recently, and let's say a 3-run lead these days counts as breathing room. And Ruben works another full count, something he's been very adept at throughout his career.
I thought it was interesting listening to Ruben talk after the game last night. Steve Gelbs was interviewing him, and I thought that some of the things he was saying were really good. He was like, I'm ready to work every single day. I do all the work I'm supposed to do before the game, and if they give me a chance to play, I'm going to show what I can do. And that's all there is when you're a bench player.
Strikes out for the second out of the inning. Well, I thought what Terry Collins said about Tejada was telling also, because for all the positive talk that it sometimes comes down the pike, it's been very clear over the years that Terry's been disappointed at times with Ruben's work ethic. But what he said after the game yesterday was, this is the hardest I've ever seen him work. So maybe it's at a point in Ruben's career, as Colon grounds one behind the bag at third, and Nashi throws him out. Maybe it's at a point in Ruben's career where the light bulb has gone off. And whether that means he'll be a part-time player or a full-time player remains to be seen. But he's obviously learned some lessons. Mets add 2 runs, and Colon now has a 3-run lead going to the bottom of the 6th.
Brings out the All-American Girl Baseball League for spring training at Alexandria, Virginia. Two teams are working out, the Fort Wayne Daisies and the Racine Bells, getting in shape for an opening day doubleheader. Dottie Schroeder is quite confident that her hair won't get in her eyes. And keeping her eye on the ball is catcher Kate Fondreau. Okay, gals, play ball.
Well, in honor of Mother's Day, recognition of the fact that there was a time when moms were not on the sidelines necessarily. They were also on the diamond back in the days of the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League in the 40s. Immortalized in the movie A League of Their Own.
Well, you know, I'm unique in a sense because I really learned how to play catch and stuff from my mom. My mom, happy mom, stayed Mother's Day in Makina, darling, who played softball into her 40s. And still in her 70s could have a play catch. Easily you could have a catch. And I mean real catch.
That's
not
fantastic.
Floating it up there.
That's fantastic. Chase Utley doubled off the fence in right center and scored a run in the 4th inning. 1 for 2 on the day. Utley, Howard, and Ruff for the Phillies in the 6th against Cologne, and now is a 3-run lead. Well, I'd like to pass along Mother's Day wishes to my mom, my mother-in-law, my wife. Happy Mother's Day to all the significant women in my life. But I think we'd also like to send a special Mother's Day wish to our friend Shannon Ford.
Yes.
Shannon has been working from home for the last few weeks. We haven't had a chance to see her, and she is one very special person and one very special mom.
And we're always thinking about her every day.
Three-2 from Cologne, and Utley pops one up. Long run for Nieuwenhuis, but he'll get there. One away. Well, that's as close as Cologne has come to a walk all day. A 3-2 count. Today's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And Cologne can become the first 6-game winner in the National League with a victory today. Cologne won 5 of his first 6 starts this year, and over the last 70 seasons, the only other 40-plus pitcher to do that was Roger Clemens in 2004 with the Astros. And in Major League history, there are only 2 pitchers who've won 6 of their first 7 starts at age 40-plus. Clemens that year in 04, and Babe Adams with the 1923 Pirates. And that's what Cologne has a chance to do today, win 6 of his first 7 starts at age almost 42.
It's almost like he makes history every time he steps out there.
Ryan Howard twice has flied to left today.
I was amazed, you know, every time I try to punch his numbers up and try to find something a little different as the Phillies bullpen is getting ready.
That's Elvis Araujo, the lefty.
And to see that he had more wins on the road is pretty amazing, because most pitchers, you know, you pitch to a little over 500 if you're as good as Bartolo's been in his career. A little over 500 on the road, and you really eat up your wins at home. But 107 of his 209 wins have come on the road.
Well, so many pitchers are dependent on so many things working for them. Comfort areas, loving the mound, liking the dimensions. Well, Bart's at a point in his career, and maybe it's always been this way just because of his demeanor, nothing seems to matter. He's got his game plan, and whatever happens in the game happens, and he accepts it and moves on. Even after he gave up a home run to the pitcher, there was no histrionics. Now if he walks Ryan Howard here, he might be upset.
That's right. This is numbers outstanding.
Now number 2 among active pitchers in wins, passed by CC Sabathia. Howard pops one up, but can anybody get to it? Neuenhuis into foul ground and gets there to make the catch. Well, Cologne's gone to 2 3-2 counts in this inning, but he's gotten both Utley and Howard to fly out.
Howard has that incredulous look. He can't believe that ball stayed in play. Kind of the wind blew that back onto the field.
So 2 out and nobody on. And now Darren Ruff, who's grounded out and flied out 0 for 2, 1 for 10 in this series. He's now at 40 innings without allowing a walk. They get 40 in the third. 1-2-3 inning for Bartolo Colon. On to the 7th we go with the Mets up 5-2. Fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com with the official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. Enter promo code NYM for free entry and claim your share of $300 million this MLB season. Tonight on Jets Nation, get a breakdown of last week's draft and the impact the rookies will have on the season, plus what Darrelle Revis learned playing with the Patriots that he's bringing to the Jets. Cheating? On an all-new Jets Nation tonight at 7 p.m. only on SNY. Curtis Granderson fouls one off as we start the 7th.
He comes with a pressure gauge.
This is Elvis Araujo making his 3rd major league appearance.
A big kid, 6'6", 220 pounds. No walks so far. Good fastball and slider.
Granderson has the biggest hit of this game. A 2-run homer that put the Mets in front in the 5th inning, his 3rd of the year. The lefty Araujo ahead of him 0-2 and strikes him out on 3 pitches. So Araujo makes quick work of Granderson, 1 down in the 7th. Chad Billingsley went 5 innings plus, allowed 5 runs, 8 hits. Justin DeFreitas retired the 3 hitters he faced, and now the 23-year-old Araujo, who was just called up last week. Here's Juan Lagares 0 for 3 today, just 1 for his last 21. Of course, that one was a big one last night, a 2-run homer, and he takes up and away for ball 1. Lagares hiked up the pant legs last night and had the big hit, so of course Being the superstitious baseball player he is, he hiked him up again today.
Well, all ball players are just incredibly superstitious. I think a lot of it has to do with you play every single day, and if something works, you stay with it.
Yeah, but how many times a week can you eat chicken?
Every day if you Wade Boggs. There's sayings you'll have in the clubhouse. Whatever you had for dinner last night, have it again when you have a big day, whether you're on the mound or at bat.
Well, some of those superstitions only last as long as your latest hot streak. Some of them last forever. I mean, John Franco had his lucky orange New York Sanitation Department T-shirt that he wore under his uniform for every game of his entire career. The same shirt. The clubhouse kids had to wash it every day and put it back in his locker.
It never got too frayed, huh?
Well, it did, but he still wore it. Chris John's dad worked for the sanitation department.
Nice play by Utley. Pitcher has to cover, but not in time. Lagares beats it out. Boy, Utley made a terrific stop there. But Iro, who couldn't get there in time, and it's an infield hit for Lagares.
Well, once it got past Howard, really wasn't a play, but Utley stayed with it. Slidden made the play and fired a strike here. But if you have a race between the pitcher, Araujo, and Lagares, no chance.
Always harder for those lefties to get over there anyway.
He reaches for the bag with that right foot, but doesn't come close. Let's see if he's delayed. No, he goes after it right away. There's nothing more that he could have done. Sometimes you see the pitcher, lack of hustle to get over there. That wasn't the case there. Oh, that's a balk.
How could they not call that?
Because they haven't seen it yet, maybe. Maybe Angel Hernandez, the first base umpire, has not seen it. That's why he didn't call it. But he never stepped to first.
That's crazy. I can't believe that the Mets aren't screaming about that one. Murphy slices one foul. Murphy has 2 hits today. A single to right, a single to left. 2 for 3.
Well, if you're real subtle and you have the powers of patience, you can sit back on that bench and say, we ever get this kid in a tight game, 1-1, 7th or 8th inning, we got 1st and 3rd, we can have our guy get picked off and get the balk call. Because it'll go around the league to the umpires that he has a balk call.
Murph cracks one into center for a base hit, his 3rd hit of the afternoon. So Murphy with 3 hits, 1 to each field, and the Mets have 2 men on.
Murph put in that 3rd spot, responds with 3 hits. That's the Murphy that he's gotten a lot of hits lately, but it hasn't been that classic Murphy swing. It's coming around.
Well, I know there are a lot of people who would not be averse to seeing Murph stay exactly in that spot in the batting order. David Wright looked comfortable in the 2-hole. You can put him back there when he comes back and figure the rest out from there.
Duda was comfortable last year in that cleanup spot, right?
The only thing about that is they want to split Murph and Duda up where they can, especially against teams that have lefties in their bullpen.
Well, I think they've both shown that they can hit lefties, especially Duda this year. So we're talking about the real elite lefties in the bullpen.
So now Duda with 2 men on. Lucas 1 for 3, doubled and scored in the 4th. And he takes inside from Araujo. Well, the numbers for Lucas this year have been stunning against left-handed pitching. After hitting just 180 against lefties last year, comes into the day hitting 393. And he hits that one well to left field, playable though, and picked off by Ruff for the 2nd out. But the quality of the at-bats against the lefties continues to be solid.
And shouldn't be discouraged there. Hit that ball right on the screws. Just fastball away, stayed right with it.
So 2 out and 2 on. Now Wilmer Flores has had a good day with the bat.
Wilmer a single and a double. He's driven in a run. He scored a run after getting the night off last night. Lagares at 2nd, Murphy at 1st and 2 out. Mets with 10 hits today. And Flores takes a strike. 94 from Araujo. Grounded to short. And Galvis goes the short way and gets the force to end the inning. Mets strand a pair. 7th inning stretch time on Mother's Day in Philly. Mets and Cologne leading 5-2. Tomorrow night at Wrigley Field, Jacob deGrom against John Lester, coming off back-to-back good starts. Tomorrow night, Noah Syndergaard for the first time ever against Jake Arrieta Tuesday night. Matt Harvey and Jason Hamill Wednesday night. John Neese and Travis Wood, the lefties, on Thursday afternoon. For more on the Cubs, let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, the kids are all right for the Cubs. Let's start with the big one. Chris Bryant got his first major league home run yesterday, and even though the power wasn't there this season to start, he was doing a lot of other things really well. Has a .415 on-base percentage coming into today's game. 17 RBIs already on the season. Then there's, of course, Addison Russell, who has a 12-game hitting streak coming into today. That's the longest by any Cub this season, and he's only played 16 major league games coming into today. And then Jorge Soler, the elder statesman of the group, because he played at the major league level last year, really starting to turn it up in May, batting almost 400 in May after Joe Maddon seems to have finally found a good spot for him in the lineup. 5th straight day he's batting 5th in the batting order. Garrett?
Well, the kids have done okay. Anthony Rizzo is having a fantastic year, but the reason the Cubs are tootling along at 1 game over 500 is their pitching has really not been good at all.
Well, you expect it to get better, though. John Lester has not been John Lester yet. Hamill, who had a good season before being traded last year late to the A's, has not been the same. Travis Wood's been pretty good for them, though.
Bullpen's been a mess so far for Joe Maddon, trying to figure out how to get better, get more save opportunities for Hector Rondon, his dominating closer, and fewer innings for the middle guys who've all been struggling. And they're 15-14. They've lost 6 of their last 8. It'll be interesting, though, to get to Wrigley Field, which is sort of half kind of renovated. They're supposed to have the left field bleachers done for the series starting tomorrow night. We'll see whether that's really the case.
Well, it's interesting today that Joe Maddon batted Addison Russell, who Steve said is on that hitting streak, batted him at 9th in the order. And
he's been hitting the pitcher 8th all year.
Yep. And the reporter asked Joe Maddon, why is he hitting Russell 9th? He said, this is not a Christopher Columbus lineup. The guy goes, what? He goes, it didn't fall off the face of the earth. It's been out there all day, all year.
Grady Sizemore drove in a run with a base hit his last time up. And he hooks one into right field, a base hit for Sizemore, leading off in the home 7th. So Grady Sizemore has his second hit of the day. Hit number 6 against Cologne. Well, you see how consistent Bartolo Colon has been this year. He's gone at least 6 innings in every start. He's only walked 1 batter all year. He's struck out 40. 40-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio.
I've never seen it.
That would would be a record.
I did play with Dennis Eckersley where he routinely walked 2 or 3, 4 a year. But that's a reliever. It doesn't count. Well, it does count, but it's different.
Now Cody Ashe, who can't get out of his own way right now, struck out twice today, 0 for his last 23. Alex Torres gets up in the Mets bullpen. It was a struggle for Alex in last night's game. Couldn't throw strikes. And Buddy Carlisle had to come in and bail him out. Pulled down to first. That is a foul ball. Very close. First base umpire Angel Hernandez there to make the call. Did you see what Cody Ashe's wearing on his left arm?
I didn't see that.
Well, a lot of guys are wearing pink today. He's got the pink Zubaz.
Zubaz. That's funny.
That was, of course, Fanatics always in green. Colon ahead 0-2, and Ashe strokes one the other way, and that's down for a base hit. Sizemore to third as Neuenhuis digs it out of the corner, and Ashe snaps an 0 for 23 with an opposite field double. And the Phillies are in business in the 7th. Second and third, nobody out.
You know, I was just saying to myself, you know, the Mets are winning this game 5-2. There was a time in this ballpark where you never would think that was any kind of a lead. But here they get 2 consecutive hits and are back in business.
Ryan Sandberg's going to go to his bench as Dan Warthen heads to the mound to talk to Colon. Cesar Hernandez is going to bat for Cameron Rupp, and Jeff Francoeur has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher behind him. So the Phillies making some noise here in the 7th. Colon at 86 pitches. Eric Adell, the right-hander, joins Alex Torres, the left-hander, in the Mets bullpen. Colon's given up 2 runs on 7 hits, but he's got trouble to work with here. Second and third, nobody out. Hernandez started in last night's game, played second base, made a key error, went 1 for 3 with a walk at the plate. Switch hitter, he'll bat left-handed against Colon. Sizemore at third, Ashe at second, infield back with a 3-run lead. And Hernandez takes high. .92 from Colon. When he needs it, it's still there.
Hardest pitch he's thrown all afternoon. Reared back and let it go. Good run on that fastball to Hernandez. You're the Phillies. You got to think you had 2 ground balls here. You're within a run.
Jeff Francoeur on deck to pinch hit for the pitcher. 1-1 to Cesar Hernandez. And that's a strike. 1-2. Again, 92 from Colon. So he knows the end is near, and he's letting it all hang out. First really warm day the Mets have had, and he doesn't appear much affected, about to throw his 90th pitch.
Let's see if he throws that fastball that comes back on the inside corner. So he knows he needs a strikeout.
He's ahead 1-2 on Hernandez. Dennis waving the towel, letting the dugout know that his relievers are ready.
Said both right and left are ready to go.
Well, you got Francoeur on deck to pinch hit, so you probably see the right-hander if the Mets need to make a move. Then Revere, a left-hand hitter behind him. Sizemore and Ashe in scoring position with nobody out. Colon looking for the strikeout against Hernandez and gives Ashe a look as he steps off.
I think it's almost like he's stepping off. He wasn't sure. He's in between pitches. He wants to make sure that he and Recker get on the same page.
Leaves Hernandez dangling too long, and he asks for time.
Notice Colon doesn't really shake off. He just looks forward, looks straight ahead.
So if he doesn't begin to throw a pitch, you just put down another sign?
Yeah, I mean, he'll just look at you. And you can see that happen with catchers before. If you look at them long enough after they've gone through the signs, the catcher realizes, oh, we got to do a new pitch. But Recker's going to do it by voice here. I used to always try with the catchers, if you're really at a good place in that day of the game, you could give them 2 pitches here. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go outside with one more fastball, then come inside, or the opposite. Let's see if Recker gives any call. No, none.
They've already agreed. 1-2.
Line to center. That's a base hit. Sizemore is in. Ashe will stop at third. Cesar Hernandez drives in a run with an RBI single. It's now 5-3 New York, and the Phillies have the tying runs on base.
Well, tried to go to his money pitch, and it leaked out over the outside part of the plate. And of course, if you're the back runner, you got to wait for Sizemore to go, and you're not going to go on Lagares anyway.
Terry Collins waited for Jeff Francoeur to be announced into the game, and now he's on his way out to make a pitching change. So we'll see Eric Goodell come in to face Francoeur. 3 straight hits off Colon to start this 7th inning. Mets lead trimmed to 5-3. Mets will go to the bullpen. We'll be right back to Philadelphia.
Inning and leaves with a much more tenuous lead. And leaves it in the hands of Eric Goodell, his second appearance in the series.
Yeah, it's almost like Cologne ran out of gas there quickly there in the 7th, and Goodell has to come in and get the job done.
Comes in to face Jeff Francoeur, who started the game last night in right field, went 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. Tying runs on base in a 5-3 game, nobody out. And Francoeur takes the first pitch, breaking ball high. Well, you know he's up there looking for a fastball he can drive.
Frenchie's even said it. He said he takes delight in trying to come up with a big hit against his former teams.
He did it in Atlanta recently against the team he started with. Played for the Mets in 09 and in 2010. Back-to-back curveballs by Goodell and gets that one over. Francoeur 2 for 4 as a pinch hitter this year. Ben Revere waiting on deck. The lefty Alex Torres up in the Mets bullpen, so this could be a one-batter affair for Goodell. And another curve, and that one's fouled, and it's 1-2.
He wants that ball down. Not a bad game plan against Frenchie, who loves the fastball.
Well, Goodell has the curve. He's got the splitter. He's thrown up 3 curveballs in a row now. Ahead in the count, 1-2. He misses high with a fastball, maybe just for show.
That's for show, to set up the curveball again. See if they can get Frenchie to fish, get the strikeout.
2-2, and the curveball hit in the air to left. Tagging at third is Ashe. Neuenhuis will fire it into the cutoff man. Going to second is Hernandez, and the ball gets free and goes into right field, but Granderson backs it up, and Hernandez will stay put. It's a sacrifice fly for Francoeur. It's now 5-4, and the tying run is in scoring position.
Well, first, a hanging curveball, so lucky to get away with just a sacrifice fly. But Neuenhuis, what he has to do here is throw the ball to second base. He can't even take a chance of throwing it through the cutoff man. Just throw it right to second base, and the way Hernandez went, as soon as he saw it go to Murphy, he was leaving right away.
So Francoeur gets a run in. It's now a 1-run game. Tying run at second with 1 out. Terry Collins will make another pitching change and bring in the lefty to face Ben Revere. So Goodell is out. Alex Torres is in. And the Mets trying to hang on here in the 7th. Our coverage begins at 7 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. Jacob deGrom makes the start against John Lester in the first of 4 at Wrigley Field. Alex Torres in for the second straight day.
Well, yesterday just not good. 9 pitches, 2 walks.
Comes in here to face Ben Revere. 2 runs are home for the Phillies in the 7th. Mets now with a 1-run lead. Hernandez the tying run at second and 1 out. And Revere has to vacate. A changeup from Torres for ball 1.
It just always amazes me when guys are in the bullpen for 15 minutes. They're working on their pitches and they come into the game and miss by that much.
Revere 1 for 3, doubled off the glove of Duda his last time up in the 5th. 2 for 11 in the series. 3 hits and a sacrifice fly conspiring for 2 runs. And Torres, who threw 8 balls in 9 pitches last night, has missed badly with his first 2 today. Freddie Galvis, a switch hitter on deck, and then Utley and Howard, 2 more left-hand hitters. Murphy in from third to talk to Torres and try and settle.
I don't even know what you say there. What do you say? Those first two, they're not working. Try something different.
So he's now thrown 11 pitches in this series, and 10 of the 11 have missed the strike zone. Needs to get it righted in a hurry. Flores made a run to the bag at second. Torres ignores him. And Revere taking all the way, and it's 3-0. And right now, Alex Torres is just all kinds of messed up.
What happens for a lot of these relievers, you know, you throw and you get ready out in the bullpen, but that adrenaline kicks up another notch once you get into these tight ball games. And, you know, the key for any reliever is first pitch strike when you come in and retire the first guy you face. That's what the manager needs you to do.
So Buddy Carlisle and Sean Gilmartin getting ready in a hurry now in the Mets bullpen, with Torres having missed badly with 3 straight pitches. And Revere takes ball 4. Well, that was 4 pitches, and not one of them was close to the strike zone. Dan Worthen's going to go out for a conversation. But a huge batter coming up in Freddie Galvis with 2 men on. So now the tying and go-ahead runs are on base for Philadelphia. And Torres, who has faced 3 batters in this series, has walked all 3 and thrown 12 of 13 pitches out of the strike zone.
The mechanical issue for Torres, Gary, is that he has a good screwball changeup. And the way it's good is that he really opens up that front shoulder and throws his chest at the hitter. The problem is that when you try to throw any other pitch, you've got to keep that front shoulder closed. He does not do that. That's why every pitch is in the same spot, inside and high to Revere.
Well, now he'll get a right-hand batter to contend with. Galvis, a switch hitter, will come up from the right side. Torres has been more effective against right-hand hitters than he has against left-hand hitters.
You'd almost be tempted if you're Galvis to go up there left-handed.
Hernandez at second, Revere at first with 1 out. Phillies with 2 runs home in the bottom of the 7th. And the Mets find themselves in a similar position to where they were last night, clinging to a 1-run lead late. Galvis 1 for 3 today. He's hitting .476 as a right-hand batter so far this year. He's got that wide open stance from the right side. And Torres gets the changeup in for a strike. That was refreshing.
Well, pitching coach went out there and probably gave him a couple of things to think about.
I just think he feels more comfortable with the right-hand hitters up.
I don't disagree, yeah. Feels like he has that whole outside part of the plate to throw to, as opposed to the lefties crowding that part of the plate.
0-1 to Galvis. In the air to center. Lagares right there. And that's the second out. So Torres finally retires a hitter. Now 2 out and 2 on, and Chase Utley coming up.
He's got to face the lefty here. Let's see if he can make the adjustment.
Utley today 1 for 3. Double just beyond the reach of Granderson in the 4th inning, and came in to score a run. This inning began with Bartolo Colon on the mound. He gave up 3 straight hits. Eric Goodell gave up a sacrifice fly. Torres has given up a walk but retired Galvis, and now he's got Utley with 2 out and 2 on.
Utley only has 11 hits on the year. 5 of them are against the Mets.
It's crazy, huh? Including a couple of home runs in one game. And a fastball strike from Torres.
And a double in today's game.
Well, there you see the numbers. And this is an out that Alex Torres absolutely has to get. And a fastball strike on the outside edge, and it's 0-2, and Utley still staring at the spot, talking to the young home plate umpire Chris Conroy.
Well, he didn't like the first pitch, and he likes this one less. Thought the first one was down and the second one was outside.
So now Alex with a chance to get through it. A hit on Utley, 0-2.
What irritates hitters sometimes, Gary, is that when a pitcher comes in and throws so many balls out of the strike zone and then gets the benefit of the doubt on 2 close pitches, irritates him to no end.
Ryan Howard would be next. One-two to Utley. Down to first, foul ball. And so Utley will get another crack at it. If things had gone a little differently in this inning, we might have seen the all-Bruin matchup of Goodell and Utley. That's right. We went to UCLA 10 years apart. Instead, it's Alex Torres trying to fight his way through this inning.
He got a little speed out there. Your outfield defense is very, very shallow, considering it's Utley. Maybe a different Utley for this defense now.
Torres ahead in the count, 1-2.
And he hits Utley to load the bases.
Wow. Now what do you do? Do you bring in Gilmartin to face Howard, or do you trust Torres to go after him?
Trust what? I'd bring Gilmartin in.
Meanwhile, they'll send the trainer out to take a look at Utley, who gets hit by a lot of pitches.
But still, that ball's not even close. I mean, you've got the advantage in the count. You've got to make your pitch. You shouldn't miss by 2 feet.
Well, Gilmartin's been throwing. Boy, it's a tough spot to leave Torres in for with the bases full. You got the tying run at third and the go-ahead run at second. He's faced 5 batters in this series, walked 3 and hit 1. Utley had no interest in talking to the trainer.
Yeah.
So now Howard has been up 3 times, flied out to left field all 3. Bases loaded, 2 out. 1-run lead for the Mets in the bottom of the 7th. And Howard pulls one down to first. Duda's got it, and Torres squirms his way out of trouble.
The Phillies get 2 and leave them loaded in the bottom of the 7th. On to the 8th on Mother's Day, 5-4 New York.
Than Gary Cohen and Howie Rose. SNY is looking for teams of 2 fans to compete against the best. Think you have what it takes to outsmart the brains of the booth and win $5,000? Then come to Citi Field for SNY's open audition for Beat the Booth, presented by Citi, Saturday, May 16th, starting at 9 a.m.
Changes for the Phillies as we go to the 8th. Chase Utley moves from second base to first base. Cesar Hernandez, who pinch hit, stays in the game at second. The new catcher is Carlos Ruiz. And the new pitcher, the sinker bowling right-hander, Jeanmar Gomez.
We saw a lot of Jeanmar Gomez when he was with the Pirates. He was their long man, occasional spot start, good sinking fastball and curveball.
Well, the Mets have seen their 5-2 lead trimmed to a 1 skinny run, and they'll go to work against Gomez in the 8th with Kirk Neuenhuis to lead off. Neuenhuis doubled in a run in the 6th inning and then stole third and scored on an errant throw. That run right now is the difference in this game. On the way for Chase Utley, this is his 29th career appearance at first base. So he's not completely a novice. I don't know if we've ever seen Utley play first base in a game against the Mets.
I mean, I saw him getting the glove and going out there, and I was trying to recall. I don't think I had ever seen him play. In fact, a couple of years ago, or maybe even last year, he had been taking some balls at third base.
It's the second time this year Utley has appeared in a game at first base. And Gomez misses with the sinker, and it's 2-1. Neuenhuis, Recker, and Tejada for the Mets in the 8th inning. Keeping the scorecard for the Phillies, Carlos Ruiz goes in the 9-hole. And the pitcher will hit in the 4th spot where Howard had been. Here's a strike, 2-2 to Neuenhuis. Well, Alex Torres fighting himself that entire inning. Did Howard help him by swinging at that first pitch?
I just don't know how you can jump on a first pitch when now he threw pretty good strikes to Galvis, but he has not shown he can throw strikes to the left-handers. Even the ones that were called on Utley could have been called balls also. So I think what has happened for Ryan Howard is that he's gotten to a little better stretch. I think the better stretch is he's been more aggressive early in the count. He jumped Matt Harvey the other night on a first pitch fastball, so that's where he's getting it started quicker, is to jump on that first pitch. Probably not a good case there.
Mets will take the result. 2-2 coming to Neuenhuis, and he golfs one in the air to left. Darren Ruff retreating. 1 out.
Let's check in with the studio. Gary Apple has a game break brought to you by Ford. Harper lost one in the sun. It's all right. He'll just hit a walk-off.
Right. At some point.
You think he might win Player of the Week this week? Here's Anthony Recker, who's 0 for 3, making his 6th start of the year. And now he cracks one into left for a base hit. Broke his bat. And he'll trade that for his first hit of the day. Only the 3rd hit of the season for Recker. 2 have come in this series.
Well, breaking ball first pitch. Recker just gets it off the end of the bat, but he's so strong. And the remnants of that bat almost caught Ruben Tejada, who was on the on-deck circle. Went right by him. But delivers the hit.
So the Mets have their 11th hit of the afternoon. Double-digit hit games have not been easy for the Mets to come by in recent weeks. Now Ruben Tejada, who's 0 for 2 and a walk today after a 2-hit game last night. And Gomez misses low and away. Johnny Manel has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher Torres. Looks like Buddy Carlisle, or is it Carlos Torres? Carlos Torres up in the bullpen, going to get the 8th inning. He struggled last night and has struggled his last, 4 of his last 5 outings. It has not been an easy path for Carlos. And Gomez falls behind 2-0. Coming up tonight at 10:30, Geico Sports Night. More from this game. Rangers, Caps tonight, Game 6 in D.C. And Jets minicamp for rookies. Football, 12 months a year?
Yeah. I mean, you're a season ticket holder, so.
That's 8 games a year. Line into left. On comes Ruff. Play it on a hop. And the Mets get back-to-back base hits from their 7 and 8 hitters. Tejada aboard for the 2nd time today. 2 men on, and Johnny Manel will pinch hit.
Well, Tejada's at bats the last 2 days have been outstanding. This time he gets jammed, drops it in front of Ruff, who's a first baseman by trade. Sinker ball up against a right-handed hitter always seems to jam them, but they're strong enough to get it to the outfield.
So here is Manel, who today is the only left-handed bat on Terry Collins' bench because Neuenhuis is in the lineup. He made his Mets debut last night with the bases loaded and had a good at bat before he banged into a double play.
He hit a bullet right back at Garcia, who started the 1-2-3 double play.
So Manel steps in against the sinker baller Gomez with 2 on and 1 out. And Gomez misses badly for ball 1. We have seen in this series starting pitchers pitch with incredible precision, and relief pitchers have no clue where the ball's going. Okay. What is that?
It's like they hijacked the game.
Bob McClure, the veteran pitching coach, official Keith Hernandez childhood friend.
That's right. Does he know that? Does he know that that's his title? Well, Bobby Mack.
On our broadcast, that's who he is.
Bobby Mack was with the Mets for a short time. One of the great guys, and a great communicator. As laid back, California laid back as you're going to get, but maybe a little hot here as it's pitcher Gomez.
So the Mets trying to get some insurance here in the 8th. Have Recker at second and Tejada at first. Trying to give Bartolo Colon a better chance at notching his 6th win. Colon went 6 innings plus. Didn't walk a batter. He's up to 40 1/3 innings now without allowing a walk. 2nd longest streak in Mets history.
Nice shot there.
And Manel lines a base hit into right center field. That'll go all the way back to the wall. Recker's in to score. Tejada digs for 3rd. He's being waved home. It's a 2-run double for Johnny Manel. His first hit as a New York Met produces a pair, and the Mets lead 7-4. Well, we saw that all spring training long from Johnny Manel.
What you see is that when he makes contact, he hits the ball hard. He did last night on the comebacker, and here hits a bullet that gets to the wall. And of course, the lead runner knows that ball's high enough. Recker to score, and a good hustle by Tejada. As soon as he sees it, He realizes it's in the gap. He's got to turn it on. Picks up Tuffle. And the Mets have 7 runs.
Second hit of Johnny Manel's career. He had one as a Giant a couple of years ago. Now he has his first hit as a Met. Here's Curtis Granderson, and he takes a strike. Granderson has a huge hit today, a 2-run homer back in the 5th that put the Mets in the lead.
How many times you see that first pitch after a pitching coach comes out, gets drilled? Because you know he's saying you need to throw strikes.
Did he mention quality strikes?
Maybe he left that out.
Well, the Mets, who were badly in need of a big offensive day, have put up 7 runs and 13 hits. And it's been some of the irregulars. Neuenhuis with an RBI double and a key stolen base. Now Manel with a 2-run double, his first hit as a Met. And tight to Granderson, 1-2.
It's amazing to me that Granderson can hold his hand still that long. But right before the ball comes, he kind of hitches it just a little bit to take the tension out. You hold it that long, got to give it a little bit to get the tension out.
In the air to center, not very well hit. On comes Revere diving, and he made the catch, and Manel's going to get doubled off second base. Revere stumbled, looked like that ball was going to fall in, but he made a great recovery to make the diving catch, and a double play to end the inning. Goes 8-6. That's a neat play by Revere when it looked like his initial stumble had cost him. Mets settle for 2 runs and lead 7-4 in the 8th. Brewers at 7:10. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Mets fedora, courtesy of Select Spider. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fedora. That's FEDORA. Second Torres of the day for the Mets.
Yeah, right. It's Carlos Torres. A couple of outings ago, he was right on time, pitched a couple of innings, but he still has struggled with his control, especially up in the strike zone.
Darren Ruff, first man to face him, and he takes inside from Carlos. Torres last night gave up a leadoff double to Freddie Galvis in the 8th inning. Then he faced Ruff and got a ground out, and that was the end of his night. He had had a fortunate inning. His previous outing at Citi Field against the Orioles gave up some line drives, but was able to negotiate the inning. So it's not been an easy stretch for Carlos by any means. Grady Sizemore on deck, then Cody Ashe, 2 left-hand hitters behind Ruff. And Ruff pops one up into shallow center. Granderson calls off Lagares. That's a rare event. 1 out.
It'll be interesting to see if the Philadelphia writers question Ryan Sandberg about, Gomez pitching against Monell. We don't know a lot about Johnny Monell, but you had Diekman ready. Lefty. Diekman's almost unhittable. But those are the things that I don't think are asked of managers as much as they used to be. The in-game kind of managing.
Well, they tend to get asked by us.
Oh, well,
Sizemore drills one to right, but right at Granderson. It's the kind of line drive that Torres has seen way too much of lately, but gets the benefit of an atom ball for the second out. No, Ryan Sandberg taking over in the middle of the season and trying to helm a team that's rebuilding now, or hoping to rebuild. They've still got a lot of veteran parts to move along. They're trying to retool on the fly, and so not many high school players taken in the draft last year.
Guys they think are closer to the major leagues.
There's Ashe, who snapped an 0 for 23 stretch with an opposite field double in that 2-run 7th for the Phils. Phillies worked hard for 2 7th-inning runs, and the Mets got them right back in the 8th on Manel's 2-run double. And now Torres ahead 0-2. Strike 3 call got him looking at a curveball, and Carlos Torres able to fashion a 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th. On to the 9th we go with the Mets up 7-4. Juan Lagares leads off the 9th inning, takes a strike from Jean-Marc Gomez. As you look at the Geico line score, Mets took the lead for good, at least for the moment, in the 5th inning on Granderson's 2-run homer, and they've kept it ever since. Lagares 1 for 4 and an infield hit his last time up. Gomez gave up a couple of runs in the 8th inning. Could have been worse, but for Ben Revere's diving catch that turned into a double play to end the inning. Two and 1 to Lagares. So the Baltimore Orioles just finished one of the worst weeks in New York maybe since the Dutch.
That's funny.
Got swept at Citi Field, lose 3 of 4 at Yankee Stadium. Did you happen to see Michael Pineda's line today?
Yeah, he had the slider working, I heard.
7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, no walks, 16 strikeouts. Utley in foul ground. Takes care of the pop-up by Lagares for the first out. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on WB Mason post-game live. Guys? Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Jim. Daniel Murphy has 3 hits today. 1 to right, 1 to left, 1 to center. A Murph kind of a day. Utley handles this one. Looking like a first baseman. 2 out.
So what did Baltimore finish? 1-5 on that trip in New York?
1-5, yeah.
Wow.
They finally won one last night, but that was the only one they got in a week in New York. Jerry's Familia getting ready for another save chance. Picked up his 12th of the year last night. Here's Duda, 1 for 3, doubled and scored back in the 4th. Phillies will have 8, 9, and 1 on the order due up. Hernandez, Ruiz, and Revere, the 3 scheduled hitters. Let's go to Chicago after the game today. Cubs playing in Milwaukee this afternoon. Down 2-1 in the 7th.
It's got to be Kyle Hendricks pitching for the Cubs because he's not pitching against the Mets.
Yeah, he had been working on a shutout going into the 7th, but home runs by Martin Maldonado and Elian Herrera for the Brewers put them up 2-1.
Maldonado catcher?
Yeah.
Backup catcher? Well, now to back up now.
Of course, the former, the Brewers catcher, Jonathan Lucroy, is on the disabled list. Duda hits one past the shortstop. Or is that the third baseman? That's the third baseman. That's Ashe who made the dive for him. It's so confusing.
It's all right.
Second hit of the day for Duda.
Well, it's nice to see Lucas Duda. You know, when these kind of ball games, when the offense starts to, what did Jim Duquette said, percolate a little better, you look for the silver linings, and that's to see Lucas Duda coming out of it a little bit. It's nice.
Well, the Mets have a season high 14 hits today. A 2-out base runner for Wilmer Flores, a single and a double, and he rolls one out to Hernandez. And that'll do it for the top of the 9th. On comes Familia, going for save number 13 as the Mets try and win a series in Philly, leading 7-4. celebrated all over the world, and here at Citizens Bank Park, mothers and daughters, mothers and sons. Just a tremendous day, beautiful weather, and Jeurys Familia ready for a save opportunity. For more on Familia, let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, we've seen a lot of pink on the players out here today, but actually Jeurys Familia wears something pink every single day. Doesn't wear it in the game, just while he's sitting in the bullpen, a pink compression sleeve to honor his mother on a daily basis. He grew up with pretty humble roots, did Familia, and his mother did a lot trying to just scratch and claw, provide for the family. She worked in a female boutique 6 a.m. every day until late at night, and Familia says seeing her push and do the best she could, it really made him motivated and more hungry to get to this level. Hungrier, I should say, to get to this level. He said the most rewarding thing about being a major league player is being able to help them out now on the other end, pay her back for all she's done.
Well, that's terrific.
It is, right? It just, I think for folks out there, you know, professional sports, I'll speak to professional baseball, it's what I played. You don't really choose it. It kind of chooses you. And it takes a village of folks.
Hernandez slashes one the other way, and he's got a leadoff hit. So Hernandez off the bench, 2 for 2 for the Phillies.
Very nice. Yeah, it takes a village of folks to help you along to get to the major leagues, and none more important, of course, than your mom and dad. Hitting by Hernandez.
So now Carlos Ruiz will come up for the first time. Ruiz caught the first 2 games of this series, went 2 for 7, including an RBI double last night. He also hit to that big double play against Buddy Carlisle in the 8th inning when the Mets were clinging to a 1-run lead. First at bat of the day for Ruiz. Hitting at .237 for the year. Phillies need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate. And Ruiz takes a fastball strike from Familia. Chooch now 36 years old, still a clutch hitter. Doesn't move behind the plate quite the way he used to. Saw that with Cole Hamels Friday night.
Double play ball. Waiting on it as Tejada gets the out at second. The turn by Flores not in time.
Tejada backed up on that ball a little, and that probably cost them the double play. But they get the first out of the inning.
Still sure hands to make that play, because he turned it into an in-between hop, made the play almost more difficult, but still gets an out. So you have a 3-run lead, you're thinking outs. You'd love to get the double play, but you're thinking outs.
By the way, Hernandez, who was criticized in some quarters for not making a good takeout slide last night on the double play, much better there. He really went after Flores to try to impede the throw. 1 out and 1 on. Now Ben Revere, who has doubled and walked today, 1 for 3.
Yesterday's Hernandez slid right into the bag and out like a pop-up slide. This time, get right into the body of Flores, past the bag.
Lesson learned.
Slide through the bag is what they teach you.
Hernandez still a relatively young player, and I'm sure that Ryan Sandberg, who played as hard as anybody on a play like that and was a second baseman in his career, passed along a message.
I'm just having to come back to the bench and face Boa.
Oh, yeah.
It would be a problem.
Yeah, between the two of them, I'd say you probably don't get away with much. Larry Boa, the bench coach for Ryan Sandberg, former Phillies manager. One and one to Revere with Galvis on deck. There's a nasty one from Familia, 1-2. The road ahead presented by Buick. Mets play 4 at Wrigley Field. Then they go home to play the Brewers, and then the team with the best record in baseball, the Cardinals. Although the Cardinals lost last night and lost again today in Pittsburgh. So they've lost 2 in a row.
Without Matt Carpenter, who did not go to Pittsburgh.
It's troubling, the diagnosis of extreme fatigue. Chopper hit to the right side. Tough play for Tejada. The glove flip, and he got him. Oh, wow.
Terrific presence of mind by Ruben Tejada. He had no other play but to use the glove as a paddle, and he gets the second out.
Well, he should have a big smile. What a play that was. Familia was not going to get to it, and he kind of see how he put his hand back, so it was always moving forward at the same time to put a little velocity on that flip. I mean, it touched his glove for a heartbeat.
He got him. Ryan Sandberg came to the top step thinking about a challenge, but no challenge ensuing, and now the Phillies are down to their final out. It's been quite a weekend for Ruben Tejada, hasn't it?
It really has. I think you tend to forget sometimes, too. That play on Duda's side is not easy because it's flipped from such a close range. You don't know where it's going to be flipped to.
So Freddie Galvis, the batter, with 2 out and a runner at second. Wrecker out to go over the signs with Familia with a runner at second base. Well, big batter here for Familia. I don't think he really wants to face Utley as the tying run. This is the guy he wants to get, but Galvis has been a tough out. Galvis 5 for 11 in this series. Murphy in at third to guard against the bunt for a hit. And Galvis pulls one foul. I've seen him do that several times in this series, pulling hard fastballs.
Yeah, his hands are quicker than you thought. Harvey, he got a hit off of on a ball 95 plus.
Oh, 1-1 to Galvis. Slider misses. 1-1. Familia trying to close it out for Bartolo Colon and get Bart his 6th win of the year. Familia, who leads the National League in saves with a dozen. Deals the 1-1. And again, the slider misses. 2-1. Threw 15 pitches in last night's game en route to his 12th save, working with a 1-run lead here with a bit more breathing room. And Galvis swings at the sinker and misses, and now the Phillies are down to their final strike.
And that ball almost looks like a left-handed slider at times.
Familia 1 strike away. In the air, left field line, slicing away from Neuenhuis, sliding, and he made the catch, and the ball game is over. Tremendous play by Neuenhuis to end it. Familia gets the save, and for the 9th time in their last 10 series in Philadelphia, the Mets win a series at Citizens Bank Park.
And now, after a slight hiccup, they've won 2 series in a row against Baltimore and Philadelphia, and it's really nice to see Kirk Neuenhuis with a dirty uniform after a game. He played a big part in today's game. Remember, he had that 5th run for the Mets when he stole 3rd and came home on the error by the catcher. Had a big base hit and this excellent defensive play.
Well, in both the last 2 games of this series, the Mets got pushed late, but were able to get key outs, and today able to get some insurance and seal a 7-4 victory as they banged out a season-high 14 hits. Bartolo Colon, just the 3rd 40-plus pitcher in history to win 6 of his first